You are supposed to be creating content, but somehow you ended up scrolling TikTok. I know this because I used to create content on my phone, but I ended up scrolling socials instead. So what did I do? I got a dedicated camera. But before you get a camera, there are some things you need to know. So you don't just end up spending a lot of money buying a camera. You need to know what camera you need, what type of sensors, lenses, and how much it's going to cost getting the extra accessories as well. So first thing first is the camera. I use the Sony ZV-E10, but there are other entry-level vlogging cameras you can use as well, like the Sony ZV-1 and the Sony ZV-1F. These cameras have fixed lenses, so you don't have to spend that extra money on buying interchangeable lenses for your Sony camera, especially my Sony ZV-E10. Some of these budget-friendly cameras don't come with a feature called internal image stabilization. Unlike your iPhone that helps you stabilize really shaky shots, your camera is not going to do that for you as well. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is the lens. I use this Viltrox 25mm APS-C f1.7 Air E lens that pairs perfectly with the E mount on my Sony ZV-E10. What do I mean when I say I get a 25mm lens? Well, 25mm, 16mm, 50mm, this just determines the distance of your image to the camera sensor. The smaller the distance is, the wider your shot is going to be, and the higher the distance is, which is going to be like 50mm, 60, 70, when you are just climbing in an ascending order, the tighter your shot is going to be. That means it brings the image closer to the sensor, while the smaller its number, it takes the image farther away from the sensor. I know it sounds absurd. We are going smaller and we're getting farther, and we're going bigger and we're getting closer. But trust me, that is how these figures work on every single lens. So next thing we're going to be talking about is your f value. F value basically represents your aperture number or aperture score. And what aperture does is determine the amount of light that is being let through your lens into your sensor. So the lower your aperture score or your aperture number, the more light gets through your lens into your sensor. And the higher your aperture number, the less light gets through your lens into your sensor. Another beautiful thing aperture does is aperture gives you this blurry effect, and in videography we call it bokeh. B-O-K-E-H. So the next thing you need to consider when getting a lens is the type of sensor. This is the Sony ZV-E10 and it uses an APS-C sensor, which is basically a cropped sensor. And the second type of sensor there is the full frame sensor. The difference in these two sensors is basically size. The APS-C is slightly smaller and the full frame is larger, significantly larger. So the sensor type on your camera also greatly affects the type of lens you'll be getting. As you can remember when I showed the Viltrox lens, it says it's an APS-C camera lens. Another thing you need to consider is storage. Because every single digital camera has interchangeable storage, you probably need to get a couple of hard drives, SD card. As I use right here, I use the SanDisk. This is the 128 gig version, and I just pulled out a hard drive from one of my previous PC and put it into a tacky case, and this is a 500 gig external hard drive that I use to store footages that I've already edited, but I just want to still have them around. And if you're somebody like me, you know I like to protect all my gadgets. So another thing you might be considering getting is either a camera case, a silicone camera case, or you might get a camera cage. So in my case, I ordered this camera cage from Temu. It's called the Jelwin, J-L-W-I-N camera case, specifically for the Sony ZV-E10. And one upside about having a camera case as opposed to using a silicone case, or a camera cage rather, every camera cage gives you multiple mounting points where you can hook up shotgun mics, you can hook up fill lights, you can hook up receivers, you can hook up monitors, you can even do like a BTS hooking up your phone or like a GoPro camera. There's so much things you can attach to a camera cage as opposed to you just using the single mount, which is the 1/4mm screw thread located below your Sony ZV-E10. Next thing we need to consider is extra batteries. Because let's be honest, the battery life on these batteries are not really great and they won't give you a lot of shooting hours. There are two options. You can decide to get a second spare battery and pair it up with an external charger, because this helps you charge your batteries without overheating your camera. Second option is you can get a dummy battery. So a dummy battery is basically tapping power from your power brick directly into your camera without overheating, without all that hustle. So if you ever plan on using your camera as a webcam, you should probably consider getting a dummy battery as well. Next thing you want to consider getting is a cleaning kit. So this is a 21-in-1 cleaning kit that offers you a wide range of brushes, sensor swabs, fiber cloths, some really funny looking journals that have a lot of cleaning cloths in them. In as much as you like having great looking videos, it will also be fun to have great sounding audios. You can invest in getting a lavalier microphone system, which I currently use. I use the Holyland Lark M2S. I currently have the receiver plugged on the camera, and I have one of the microphones attached here to my clothing. Next thing you can consider having is a shotgun mic. You can go for the Rode Video Mic 2, you can go for the Mic Mini, or you can go for like a Sennheiser mic if you actually have that money to spend. And trust me, you're not going to regret it, because as expensive as these mics are, they actually put out great audio quality. Last but not least, and this is optional, it is an ND filter. What do I probably need it for? If you're somebody that is going to be shooting content outside during the day under the hot sun, you may want to consider getting this. And for you to save the stress by changing your settings when you go out and when you come back in when you're trying to shoot, you just get an ND filter and you screw it onto your camera. And as you can see, when I twist the knob, the ND filter gets lighter, and if I continue twisting it, you see it gets darker. So an ND filter basically controls the amount of light that passes through your camera lens into your sensor, helping you maintain exposure in really sunny environments and also maintaining it in really dark environments as well. ND filters also come in different sizes depending on your lens circumference, because every lens has a 5 figure, which is represented by an O that is striped through. You can call it circumference or whatsoever. My lens is a 57mm circumference lens, so I have to get a ND filter that has a 57mm screw. There are a lot more extra equipment and gadgets you can probably get if you are trying to shoot on a dedicated camera. So after all these things I've told you, if you still consider getting a camera, you should probably make some research and decide what camera you're going to get. So yeah, my name is Omar. I am a UI UX designer, framework developer, talkative creative, and videographer. Live your life with purpose and positivity, and I'll see you in my next video.